Okay, so our session is being recorded now. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with ArtsBuild Ontario. We are the only organization in Ontario dedicated to realizing long-term solutions for building, managing, and financing sustainable arts facilities needed in Ontario communities. Energy conservation is a huge part of maintaining sustainable facilities. So we're very excited to have Ed Evans and Sandri Caterino from Ledvance Sylvania here with us today. Ledvance Sylvania is a worldwide leader in innovative lighting products and energy-saving systems, and Ed and Sandri are here to tell us a little bit more about how visual arts facilities in particular can transition to LED and the costs and savings that are available, and how LED can help you save long-term. Ed Evans is the National Account Manager LED at Ledvance Sylvania Limited, and he's a recognized leader in the lighting industry in regards to energy-efficient, sustainable lighting solutions. Ed has managed hundreds of energy-efficient lighting projects, which have resulted in savings of many megawatts of electricity and millions of dollars in cost savings. Sandri Caterino is an account manager at Ledvance and has been with the company for 20 years. She has excellent interpersonal skills that allow for the development of long-term and profitable relationships with key decision makers and partners, all while maintaining strong customer relations. So for a few housekeeping items, we are going to have time for a question period at the end of the presentation, but we will be keeping microphones off for this webinar. So please type your question in the chat box after the presentation, if you can save it till the end. We're going to answer them in sequence. I'll read them out and Ed will answer them for us. Ed and Sandri have also kindly provided their contact information, which will be available at the end of the presentation if you have any further questions. So again, just for anyone who's checked in a little bit late, we will be recording this session, and the link to the recording will be sent to everyone after the webinar, and it'll also be available on our website. So again, thank you so much to Ed and Sandri and all of you for being here, and Ed, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you, Ailey, and good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to begin our presentation with two very quick thank yous. Number one, thanks very much to ArtsBuild Ontario for your invitation to provide this LED webinar and your work to organize it. And we really appreciate your organization as one of the leaders supporting arts facilities in Ontario to help achieve best possible energy savings and sustainability for your members. We're very excited this afternoon to be speaking to one of the most important sustainable energy conservation measures possible today for arts facility, which is LED lighting. And most importantly, thank you to all of you for investing your time here with us today. We know how busy you are as leaders of your respective arts organizations, and that you're the person at your organization committed to achieving best possible energy and cost savings for your facility. And we appreciate your interest in LED lighting. And our commitment to you is to provide you with very valuable, practical, hands-on information, action plan information regarding this LED update specifically for arts facilities in Ontario. So we're going to focus, and I'm just advancing slides. We're going to focus on the new LED products that provide the greatest bang for your buck energy savings, and very importantly, how to achieve the maximum save on energy retrofit program incentives that are available from every utility in the province of Ontario. This very much helps drives the best possible payback and return on investment for your arts facility. We're also very much focused during this process on achieving the best possible light quality and performance for your LED lighting in your arts facility. Over the past year, there have been many new LED products come onto the market. There's been very significant improvements and advancements in energy efficiency, the quality of LED light performance, much lower costs have come into the market, and very importantly, June 20th of this year, there were some very important updates to these save on energy utility incentives available from Ontario Utilities. And this all drives best ever return on investments for LED projects that we've seen to date, and we expect to ever see going forward in the future because of the fact that LED prices are down, efficiencies are up, and I think LED incentives in Ontario are now at peak levels that we'll see over this process opportunity. So we want to ensure that you have the opportunity and receive the best possible support to review, analyze, and most effectively implement these exciting new LED products in your arts facility. So we're going to review LED products that are specifically of the greatest benefit for Arts Facility based on the experience we have in the sector. We're going to comment on energy and dollar cost savings for each type of LED product that we cover. We're also going to take a look at the specific retrofit incentive that's available for these LED products. And then we're also going to show you the calculation for the resulting payback and return on investment for each of these types and for an example of an overall art gallery LED retrofit project. We're going to review the LED technology benefits, and we're also going to cover some important buyer beware tips that the lead utilities in Ontario asked us to cover in these sessions. LED is an outstanding technology, now becoming prevalent and very high quality product available, but it's still relatively early days and there's still some issues in the market. So very straightforward to avoid, and we're going to help you make sure that your LED project is absolutely risk-free and you know the key buyer beware issues to be up to date on. So we're also going to provide a very quick snapshot, a very quick update, an overview of the current LED market so you know how we've arrived where we're at now and where the LED market is going in the future. We're also going to take a look at, we said, several important LED case studies for arts facilities, including the McMichael Canadian Art Gallery LED project and the Burlington Art Centre LED project. Again, the key focus overall is LED's significantly increased efficiency and these great improvements to the light quality of LED. And again, always focusing on helping you to maximize the save on energy utility incentives that are available, because what this is all about and what our key focus is to make sure that you're achieving best possible energy and dollar cost savings and the best possible return on investment for these new LED products for your arts facility. And we're going to begin with just a very quick 1-minute introduction as to who we are at Ledvance Sylvania. In regards to our market position for LED, we're one of the largest manufacturers globally of LED, and we're a leader in North America and Canadian commercial lighting markets. This past year, we manufactured over 10 billion LED chips. We're an industry leader for R&D investment in LED and hold over 10,000 patents in LED technology. In Canada, and in Ontario in particular, Sylvania is one of the largest drivers of electricity conservation projects and incentives for our customers. And again, we want to stress, and ArtsBuild wanted to make sure we stressed very much that a key focus of the support we provide is this commitment to you that we will work with you through the process, the assessment process, and also the utility incentive process to make sure you know maximum use incentives that you're eligible for and that you're always achieving the highest levels of incentive for your project. So before we take a look at the new LED products and the case studies, we're just going to take that quick look at the current lighting market with a focus on LED. So here are the major trends in the global lighting market 2010 through 2020. And Ontario, because of the excellent incentives available, tends to be at the forefront, certainly the leading edge of this curve. As you know, due to the great advances in LED efficiency and light quality, the lighting market is going through a huge transformation. And the data on this chart is not Sylvania information. It's actually information from an independent McKinsey report based on input from leading global lighting engineers and manufacturers. And it helps to explain why new LED lighting products can achieve some of the greatest energy cost savings, best payback return on investment of any energy conservation measure in the market. So please note the LED, or the blue area at the top of the chart, in 2016, LED now comprises over 20% of installed commercial building lighting, and that's all commercial buildings from industrial and institutional, including the art sector, basically every building that's not a single-family residential home. And you can see their center right chart where 2016. The chart shows a higher skewed percentage of the overall lighting market in 2016 being LED, because the automotive industry, which is one of the biggest adopters, the biggest customer sectors for LED, has already transitioned predominantly to LED lighting. As you may know, that many of the automobiles manufactured today, 100% of all onboard lighting is LED. However, in regards to commercial buildings, and certainly for institutional buildings, within the next 3 to 4 years, over 50% of all commercial buildings globally, and again, Ontario will be at the forefront of this, is projected to be installed LED. Certainly within 5 to 7 years, over 70% of all installed lighting in commercial and institutional buildings will be LED, and this is driven entirely by the business case, entirely based on the energy savings and the return on investment. And the reason is that this chart shows LED market growth, but it also reflects the increased range of different types of LED products that are available, and certainly very much reflects the increased efficiency of LED, the lower costs, and again, in markets like Ontario, the very significant incentives available. Utilities very much want to encourage you to be more efficient, and they're trying to encourage you to adopt LED technologies. So it's all about the relative efficiencies, or the lumens per watt, the LPW, and we'll refer to this throughout the presentation. It's our industry's mile per gallon, very useful measuring stick for all of us to compare our traditional, less efficient lighting to the more LED lighting. And as we can see, the chart shows very explosive, very rapid LED market growth now, as LED sales have exploded, and that's due to the relative efficiency now of well over 80 LPW for the LED lamps that replace incandescent and halogen, and this is of particular importance to the visual art sector. And again, what you also have now is LED T8 fluorescent lamps achieving well over 120 LPW compared to the more traditional fluorescent technologies, the T8 and pot light technologies that are only 70 to 80 lumens per watt or so. This is also the case, importantly, for exterior lighting. Traditional exterior lighting, high pressure sodium and metal halide, tends to be in the 70 LPW range, and now you have wall packs and pathway lighting, building exterior lighting, again, well over 100 LPW. So now that you've got both LED PAR and MR track lighting, the type of lamps and bulbs very important to art galleries at well over 80 LPW, you've got the LED T8s at over 120 LPW. There's now a very significant delta. They've really blown past. They're really far more efficient than the traditional fluorescent and traditional halogen products that they're replacing. Not only are they significantly more efficient, but you also now have, for the very first time over the past year or two, you now have these new higher quality LED products that have the same light quality, or in many cases even better light quality than the traditional lighting they're replacing. As well, they also have significantly longer life, and we're going to get into the details of that by product type. So basically, you've got a situation, all of these things occurring and coming together, and again, can't stress it enough, with these outstanding new LED incentives we have in the Ontario market. Basically, we're making the case to you, and the market itself, the proof is in the pudding, that this year and next, we simply will have some of the all-time best opportunities ever to benefit from LED energy savings and return on investment, certainly for arts facility projects. So before we get into the specific product details and case studies and the incentive details, here's the key reasons why LED is a big game changer for energy efficiency and sustainability for lighting. Regarding sustainability, LEDs are free of hazardous material. In particular, they contain no mercury, which of course mercury is a key component in all fluorescent lighting. So now that's gone by the boards. The 10 to 20 times longer life of these new LED bulbs versus the incandescent and halogen lighting used in an arts facility There's also 5 times longer life of LED products versus the compact fluorescent that you would typically use in your pot lights, and 3 to 4 to 5 times longer life of the new LED exterior lighting versus the traditional exterior lighting technology. So all of these things mean much less burned out lighting occurring, much less old lighting going into landfill. And as the LED lamps and bulbs that you would use for arts facility track lighting use 80% less energy than the halogen lighting they're replacing, as well as the LED T8 and the exterior lighting, you having energy saving benefits in the 35 to 70% range, you've got a much more sustainable basis of lighting in Ontario. As well, because of the fact that LEDs emit less heat, air conditioning loads are lessened. And we found from our experience with the McMichael and other major arts facilities, particularly in the summertime, there's a lot of heat generated from halogen track lighting in an arts facility, so that air conditioning has to be cranked out throughout the summer. And we've had reports back from arts facilities that we've done that throughout the summer months, air conditioning loads are cut in half by the use of LED lighting instead of halogen in the tracks. And because of the fact that these new LED lamps and many other LED retrofit products utilize your existing fixtures, again, this is a very sustainable process, the transition to LED, because there's very little, if any, old lighting product going into landfill as a result of these LED projects. So here we can see the reason why we saw on the chart that the LED has exploded these past 2 to 3 years in particular is due to the very rapid and now very significant market uptake of these LED plug-and-play retrofit lamps, which provide the greatest percentage energy savings of any type of LED at 80% plus. These provide the best payback and the best return on investment. And these are some of the key lamps that would be used in an art facility. So as you can see at the graphic there at the top of this slide, there's now an LED lamp to replace most every type of traditional existing incandescent and halogen. The PAR type lamps, where we're going to be looking in particular at the LED PAR type lamps, very important lamps in the art gallery facility. And basically those are those lamps at the center of the screen and on the right hand side for track lighting. Very important also, many archives and many display cases for arts facilities will be using MR16 halogen lighting. 50-watt MR16 halogens are very common. You can see the two LED MR16 replacements at the left-hand side of the screen. And so what we're going to show specifically as we go through the next several slides is the applications for these lamps in art galleries. And when utilizing these Ontario Save on Energy utility incentives, the payback you can achieve for now pretty much all of these lamps across the board, you can actually achieve a 6-month payback, a 200% annual return on investment across the board for all of these LED lamp types when replacing halogen in your arts facility. Very important, we're going to stress this and demonstrate this a number of times throughout the presentation. They also now provide equivalent or often superior light quality, and we're going to talk about color rendering index and color temperature specifically over the next several slides, to the traditional lamps that they're replacing. Okay, so now into some of the specifics, and certainly probably the most common typical type of halogen lighting that would remain in many arts facilities in Ontario today would be the PAR family of lighting. PAR 20s, PAR 30s, PAR 38s, used in the track lighting in an arts facility. Here, when you replace those traditional halogen PAR lamps with LED, across the board, you're achieving an 80% energy savings. Of course, particularly important for arts facilities is, again, that these LED lamps have very high or very good, what we refer to as color rendering index. That's basically the scale of 1 to 100 that indicates the quality of the relative whiteness of the light and how well the light illuminates various colors across the spectrum. So all of these lamps have a minimum of 82 CRI, very high in the scale and equivalent to the halogen lighting that you'd be replacing in quality. Also, particularly important for arts facilities, the color temperature of the new LED products. They've basically been designed to match what you're currently using with your traditional halogen. Traditional halogen lighting, generally the color rendering index of halogen PARs and MR16s are in the 2900 CCT range. So what we've done is we've manufactured these LED lamps in 3000 Kelvin color temperature. So all of them are dimmable, again, mercury, they have the same look, and now we've also developed lighter, lightweight LED products, very helpful again for the application in arts galleries. All of these products are rated for 25,000 hours with E-Star, Energy Star, so that's now a 10 to 20 times longer life than the incandescent and halogen they're replacing in arts facilities. However, they've actually been designed for 50,000 hours or longer. So again, you're looking at not only tremendous energy dollar cost savings, but very significant maintenance cost savings. And here we explore that for you. Here's an example of just how good the payback is for all of these LED lamp types. In this particular case, we've kind of taken one of the more extreme examples. And this is the process that we facilitate for you. We review with you the existing lighting you have at your arts facility. We do an assessment of your existing lighting. Then we recommend the best new LED specification and provide you with a full proposal with all of the costs, all of the incentive calculations, and all the payback. So here's a snapshot to make the math as simple as possible on what's a bit of an eye chart here. On the left-hand side, you'll see a space where there's 100, a quantity of 100 PAR 38 90-watt halogen lamps. They're burning approximately 3,500 hours a year, which is a typical high side of what a gallery may operate a year, that typically 3,000 to 3,500 hours a year. And here you've got 90-watt halogens. So we can now replace that with a Sylvania LED 11-watt PAR 38. So again, you can see on the right-hand side, we've one-for-one replacement. Actually, we can replace it with either an 11 or a 14. We've actually been conservative here, and we're showing the wattage going from 90 watts to 14 watts. This is one of the largest, highest lumen, highest performance, and therefore most expensive of all of the LED. It's the big PAR 38. So you're looking at a price here, that total supply price quotation of basically approximately $22 per lamp. However, one of the great things about the incentive rebates from Save on Energy, as you can see in the line below, is the higher the quality, the higher the lumens of the lamp, the greater the savings, the greater the incentive. So even though it's a very high quality, very expensive, very high lumen LED PAR 38 lamp at $22, the incentive is $14 per lamp. So that brings you down to a net price of close to $8 per LED. However, as you can see, the estimated annual energy savings, that's electricity savings, from an $8 investment, you're saving over $29 annually. Then what we also do, based on your feedback, is take a very conservative estimated amount for the additional maintenance savings and the other cost avoidance savings that you're achieving. For example, most halogen lighting has a lifespan of about 3,500 hours. So generally an art gallery will be replacing their halogen track lighting approximately once a year or so. Most of that halogen lighting is going to be in the $4, $5, $6 or more per lamp. So you're saving, let's say, an average of $5 per year lamp replacement costs. And of course, there's also, whether you're doing it yourself or someone's doing it, that there's a cost of labor to change that light bulb. The lighting industry, the going rate for changing a light bulb happens to be at about the $3.50 range. So you're basically saving approximately $5 lamp replacement cost, $3 plus in labor. So conservatively, you're saving about $8 a year in that total cost avoidance. But we've shown it only as 3. Instead of 8, We're being very, very conservative because we want these numbers to be, because the numbers are so good, it's almost a little too good to be true going on here, but we want to be very, very conservative in the numbers that we're showing you. So this is worst case what you're going to be achieving here. So you're basically looking at an $8 per lamp investment, driving savings of over $32 a year. That's a 3-month payback, or a 400% annual return on investment. And that's typical of every type of PAR and MR16 lamp type LED transition relamp across the board. And we help you with this process, that we can help you with these calculations. We have a team of specialists that do these calculations for you. We just work with you to get the data in, and we'll provide you with these outputs. And again, just to make sure everyone understands, we know some of the people on the call have quite a bit of lighting knowledge. Others may be administrators and not so familiar with some of the terminology and applications we're referring to. So again, we went out and visited a couple of galleries based on ArtsBuild's recommendation. Sandri took some photos and did some assessment work. You can see there on the left, there's some of the typical track lighting, and on the right, where some of the LED T8 replacement opportunities would take place that we're going to see in the next couple of slides. And here is an approximated typical overall project cost and overall energy savings for that smaller size art gallery that we did the sample assessment for. So, and you can see we've left lots of line items open because you may have different types of smaller quantities of things. But in most arts facilities, what you're going to be focusing on is changing out your existing 4-foot or 2-foot, your T8 fluorescent lighting. And you can see in this particular case, this facility throughout their gallery, offices, corridors, throughout the entire art space, they had approximately 200 2-foot by 4-foot fluorescent fixtures recessed in the facility. And so they draw 2 32-watt lamps with a very efficient ballast, draws about 59 watts per fixture. Those, if they were relamped with 2 15-watt LED T8 lamps, would be reduced from 59 watts, and I'm looking at that top main gallery 32-watt T8 fluorescent line now. So you'll be going from 59 watts down to 36 watts per fixture. And then in the gallery had about 80 track heads. In this case, they had one of the lower wattage, lower lumen products. They had a 50-watt PAR 20 halogen existing. So that would be replaced with an 8-watt LED PAR 20. So overall total LED product costs for that project, you can see down total supply price quotation, a little over $3,600 for the entire project cost to do all of those fixtures, transition to LED. However, you would generate incentives of almost $1,900. So the net project cost after incentives would only be a little more than $1,700. You would achieve close to $2,200 in annual electricity savings. We've taken, again, very, very conservative rate on lamp replacement savings and maintenance savings. So from a approximate $1,750 investment, you're saving approximately $2,500 a year overall for an 8-month payback, or 150% annual return on investment for the entire smaller size art gallery. Won't spend too much time on this. The numbers are very, very similar. The payback, return on investment, very, very similar. Many facilities will have 50-watt or 35-watt MR16s in their archive spaces or in their display cases for various types of objects. Again, everything applies here. The 25,000-hour life, over 80% energy savings. Again, we can provide you with all of these numbers, but I want to move along for the sake of time here. And you can see the paybacks when replacing 50-watt MR16 halogens with the new 8-watt LED lamp. The payback is actually even better. The payback is actually under 3 months. You're talking about a very high quality LED MR16 at now $10 per lamp or less, and a $6 incentive. So you've got a net price of only $4 per LED MR16, driving this outstanding payback. So now we're going to very quickly review some of these important case studies. Here I think is one of the most interesting LED case studies of any art gallery, pretty much in North America, because this was one of the very first art galleries in North America to transition to LED. The project began actually now well over 6 years ago, and this is, of course, the McMichael Canadian Art Collection in Kleinburg. Very noteworthy for a number of reasons. Again, it was very early, so now you've got a project that's been burning away there for 5 to 6 years, and that sure enough, 95% of the LED lighting is still functioning as promised. You had a 75 to 80% energy savings overall. They had approximately 550 halogen 50 watt and 75 watt PAR 30s in their tracks. And that this was, they achieved a 1-year payback, but that's because when this project was done back 5-6 years ago, LED lamp costs were about 2 or 3 times what they are now. So this project would now actually achieve better than a 6-month payback. This project, the interior project, was so successful, they went on to retrofitting all of the exterior lighting at the McMichael over to LED lighting as well. Another very good case study. Again, we've chosen ones that have been installed for, I think the Burlington Art Centre was done about 3 or 4 years now. So there's a good history of the LED being in there that illustrates how terrific the maintenance savings are. Again, I understand that because the LED lighting at the Art Gallery Burlington has only been in for about 4 years. Again, they've got close to 100% of the original LED installed, still burning away. And again, very similar excellent results as the McMichael. 80% energy savings, a payback of well under 1 year. And very important to note, it was very important in the discussions with the McMichael and the Art Gallery of Burlington, not only tremendous energy savings benefits and maintenance savings benefits, but very important to note the fact that LED lighting projects less heat. It's 80% more efficient, so it projects 80% less heat than the traditional halogen, no UV rays. So actually, LED lighting, there's a tremendous benefit in regards to the conservation of artworks, that LED much easier, much gentler light source for fragile art objects. And here's quite a remarkable case study, one that we always enjoy speaking to, and there's all sorts of great information about this one online. You can simply Google the LED project at the Sistine Chapel. This was the result of many years of study, leading European lighting experts. Obviously, it was critical that beyond the energy savings at the Sistine Chapel for these great masterpieces, the quality of the light had to be maintained, if not improved. And you can actually see the before and after shots there, that now with the higher quality LED lighting, there's actually a better color rendering index and a better rendering of primary colors than the traditional halogen lighting that it's replacing. So in regards to your offices, something we want to talk about now is this huge trend that's occurring with LED T8 tubes replacing T8 fluorescent lighting. And this, of course, has been huge in the commercial office sector and, of course, all commercial art galleries, public art galleries, corridors, offices. So this was a really interesting case study just done this past year. All of the major Cadillac Fairview towers in downtown Toronto, I think there's 7 of them, all 55,000 4-foot T8 fluorescent lamps were retrofitted, were relamped over to LED T8. So very significant energy savings. I think it was a little more than a 1-year payback achieved. And again, we like this case study because this is Class A office space, critically important that light quality be achieved and improved. They have a very rigorous sustainability mandate at this group of companies, and that the LED project actually helped them achieve critical lead points they required to achieve their sustainability mandate targets. So now we're going to take a look at several of these LED options, LED T8 options that you can use for your gallery, and certainly for institutional buildings. commercial buildings, this is a real game changer. This is certainly the most significant advancement in LED lighting excuse me, over the past year or two, because it creates the largest opportunity for significant energy savings for most every type of building, because most every building, the base lighting, the recessed lighting, offices, corridors, public areas, are 2-foot or 4-foot T8 fluorescent lighting. And the really significant innovation here is the fact that these new LED T8 tubes can be operated directly off the existing T8 fluorescent ballasts in the fixtures. So there's no need to do any wiring. There's no need to change out any ballasts. If your ballasts are in good condition, if they're compatible, and we can easily tell that most in the market are, all you need to do is simply relamp, take out your existing T8 fluorescent lighting, and install these new LED T8 tubes. So again, the most common type of T8 tube in most arts facilities would be a 4-foot 32-watt fluorescent. You can replace that now with a 15-watt, and in some cases even a 12-watt LED T8, driving 35 to 40% savings. These new LED T8s, very high quality, very high lumen, although there is a really wide range of quality of these products in the market. So you need to do a test. If you're going to do this LED relamp, very important to get a couple of samples, install them, make sure you're fully satisfied with the quality that you're getting, and you're getting full lumen level replacement. Again, they have a rating of 50,000 hours. However, now that they've been out in the market for a couple of years, the new tests are actually showing they're lasting well over 60,000 hours. And something that's extremely important, June 20th, I referred to new Ontario incentives coming in, that for the highest quality, for the better LED T8 tubes, there's now a $7 per lamp incentive that you can get. So this is how good the payback has become. Again, want to move on here because of time. Very quick snapshot, basically relamping 100 fixtures. These lamps cost approximately $14 per tube, but with the $7 incentive, a typical office relamp, for this one line item, you're looking at about a 14-month payback. So a really great measure to significantly reduce operating costs at your arts facility. Very important, of course, with LED, you're making a significant investment here. These products are very long life. You want to make sure you're getting a good return on investment. So you want to make sure you're getting a solid brand name warranty that clearly states you've got a 5-year warranty, and it's protecting against rated life, that you're getting a good product that's performing properly for a full 5 years. So very important to take a look and make sure you're getting a very detailed, supportive warranty. Here's a quick comment, very important buyer beware note. And this is something that the utilities wanted us to pass along, and also something very important that occurred with the June 20th incentives, that there is a type of LED T8 in the market that's referred to as an internal driver type, or direct line voltage type of LED T8, the type we've got highlighted in red there at the top. And basically what this means is at the end of the LED T8 tubes, the driver is actually inside the tube itself. So to use these, you actually have to wire around the existing ballast. But there's issues here. If you put a T8 fluorescent back into that socket, there are potential shock hazards and various issues. So the utilities have decided as of June 20th to not incent the internal driver type of LED T8 lamp. So what's occurring, and you may have had some knocks at your door, is that some of the, shall we say, lesser scrupulous lighting suppliers that have brought these into the market, they're now being dumped at very low cost, but they're not eligible for incentives. So you want to make sure if you're doing the LED T8 tube relamp, you're using the type that we've described. The type in green down at the bottom there. There's numerous high-quality brand name types available. Of course, we're hoping you take advantage of the special pricing we're offering you on the Sylvania lamps, but you definitely want to go with what we refer to as the substitute, the type of plug-and-play LED lamps that operate on the existing fluorescent ballasts. Okay, so just very quickly, we've pretty much covered this off. LED benefits, most of you aware, benefits and advantages. Very significant energy savings, so great operating dollar cost savings for your art facility. Much, much longer life. We covered off with the halogen lamps to the LED up to 10 to 20 times longer life, so significant maintenance savings, and that helps you achieve this excellent payback and ROI. Very environmentally friendly, and again, extremely important for arts facilities. These new high-quality brand name LED lamps have achieved a very high CRI, or coloring index, of very good quality of white light. Important to understand what the risks are in the market. LED turns your understanding of lighting upside down. It's basically become an electronic appliance. It's all generated by microchips and semiconductors. So an LED lamp or an LED fixture, an LED tube, has to have very good thermal management design. The heat must be drawn away from the power supply or the chips, the LED, the light emitting diodes in the lamp. So again, most brand name products have overcome these issues, but you need to be aware the poor quality products that don't have this thermal management design, they don't burn out more quickly, but all of these things can occur. Rapid lumen depreciation, or the light level falling very rapidly over the life of the lamp. Color shift or color variance, something that can't occur for an arts facility. And we've seen this in elevators or lobbies and buildings where they've been in for several years at 24/7, the LEDs will actually shift back to primary colors, such as greens. So the good news is there is very good quality criteria in the market, and also to be eligible for the incentives in Ontario, any LED lamp that you're looking at must be Energy Star rated, or any LED tubes or LED fixtures you're looking at must be DLC or Design Lights Consortium rated. That means they've passed testing at independent labs that you're going to get the quality over the full 25 to 50,000 hour rated life. So very, very quickly now, we've just got a few minutes remaining. We've covered actually the key products, the track lighting, the tubes, the key products that would be most applicable to most art galleries, but very quickly going to run through some other interior and exterior opportunities. LED pot lights have become one of the biggest opportunities in commercial and institutional facilities. Many arts facilities, lots of pot lights with a pin-based compact fluorescent. You can now replace those with these excellent LED retrofit kits, great incentives, great payback. There are now products referred to as LED stick replacements, where instead of retrofitting the pot light, you can simply pull out the old CFL pin-based product and pop in this new LED replacement. We're just bringing this product to market. It's actually one that it falls into the buyer beware category because of the many different types of ballasts, magnetic and electronic ballast types at the top of a CFL pot light. There's been a lot of compatibility issues in this category. So we're actually doing some further testing, tweaking our technology somewhat to have the greatest compatibility. There's been a lot of recalls in this sector. So bottom line, if you want to be certain of having good results with your pot lights, do the LED pot light retrofit kit. If you're looking at the LED stick replacements for CFLs, make sure you do a test before you go ahead with that measure. If your fluorescent fixtures are a little bit tired and you don't want to simply relamp the tubes, that you're looking for a refresh on the look in the gallery or your offices, there are some outstanding retrofit options. Here's some LED panels, incredibly reasonably priced. You're looking at products now that are not much more than $100 per fixture, and as you're going to see, available in a wide range of shapes and sizes to cover your existing fixture. LED signage, very important opportunity for arts facilities. Most of you will have large signage out front in your building, maybe wayfinding signage. Most of that exterior signage will be lit by old T12 fluorescent lamps, which you can easily bring up to date with LED T8, or there are specially designed LED signage components that you can also take a look at. If you are responsible for the exterior lighting at your gallery, that LED wall packs have become one of the most popular measures for all facilities. Most every building will have existing high-pressure sodium or high, metal halide wall packs. This is a simple one-for-one replacement, great incentives, great paybacks, and great maintenance savings. Same thing with these canopy fixtures, your atrium, your receiving area, great LED options there. So that basically covers it, and we're just at time. Just got a couple of slides to wrap up here. That basically you've got an opportunity such that excellent energy savings for most every application that would occur at an arts facility. As long as the product is E-Star rated or DLC, outstanding incentives available from every utility in Ontario that we can help and support you with to drive this excellent payback and return on investment. Always, with all of these products, you're achieving a much longer life, great maintenance savings, and certainly for arts facilities, critically important, enhanced light quality and operating cost savings across the board. So again, just a further summary of how we can support you in this process. That again, as we explained, that if you follow up with us, we can either provide you with payback calculations and assessment by email or phone, or certainly we're more than happy to arrange for one of our team members to come and visit your site to walk you through this process and making sure you're getting the best possible results. So there we are, Ailey, that I've just gone maybe about a minute over. I see we're at 12:46, so I'll wrap it up there, and let's see if we have any questions from the group.
Fantastic. So again, everyone, we're going to keep mics off. If you have a question for Ed or Sandri, type it in the chat box and I'm going to read them out in sequence. We're going to get to as many as we can. So Ed, we've already got a question here from Joanne. If lights are ordered from Sylvania, are the rebates instant?
That's a great question. The rebates are not instant, but they are pre-approved. So what we do is we simply review, again, do an assessment. If you've got 80 track lights and you want to do 100 fluorescent fixtures, it's a very straightforward incentive application that we help you with. We help you with the paperwork. You submit it to your local utility. It's a very straightforward process, which again, we can facilitate the whole process for you. You submit it to your local utility and you're pre-approved. So you basically get feedback from your utility that yes, as soon as you conclude the project, the money's been set aside for you and the incentive check will be cut and sent to you. So the answer, that was sort of a long-winded no. The incentives are not instant, but they're guaranteed. You know you're going to get them because you're pre-approved, and it's critically important, by the way, to apply for the incentives before the project is done. The utilities don't like after-the-fact incentives. So again, great question, and contact us about that. Joanne, we'd be happy to walk you through that process and quite literally help do the process for you.
Okay, fantastic. Next question is from Lori. Do the older T12 fluorescents require a replacement of the entire fixture?
Yeah, another great question, and positive answer that no, not necessarily. However, if you do have older T12 fluorescent fixtures, you do need to replace the ballast. So if your fixtures are in good shape, that you will need to replace the old T12 magnetic ballast, because the old T12 ballast will not operate the new T8 LED lamp. So you can use the same fixtures, but you can't simply relamp. You have to relamp and reballast.
Great. Next question from Glenda. Glenda would like to know how can she arrange someone to come and look at their museum lighting as they're replacing everything they have now?
Well, that's terrific. That as you can see on the screen there, you've got both Sandri and my email addresses. Please don't hesitate to reach out to either of us by email. We can set up a quick call, find out what your location is, and we partner with Nedco, the really excellent electrical distributor. They basically have close to 40 branches around the province, so wherever you're located, We just get it into our schedule and we arrange a site visit. So just reach out to Sandra and I, and we'll arrange the site visit for you.
Fantastic. And when we send out this presentation recording to everyone, we'll be sure to include that contact information again, so you'll definitely have it on hand. Next question comes from Lucy. They're looking to create a wall gallery for community artwork, and the lighting is on the wall. Do you have any recommendations?
I'm sure we would. I just would need a little bit more information about the type of lighting that's on the wall. So that, again, there's a couple of ways that this can be, the communication can be achieved very easily. If you have any specification information, or if you can take a photograph of what you have or what you're intending to do, send the photograph to us by email. We can certainly make recommendations, or once again, we can certainly arrange a teleconference or a site meeting. Oftentimes is required to come out and take a first-hand look at exactly what you want to do. We're more than happy to arrange that, and then we can make recommendations as to the best type of lighting for that application.
Fantastic. Luke asks, is there a trade-off between doing a building in stages over 1 to 2 years versus one large project?
Not really. However, there are some considerations you would have to take a look at. That certainly for the LED, for the incentives, for the utility incentives which are critical, what you can do is you can make an application for the entire project. Now, generally, there's cutoff dates of the end of the calendar year. We have been assured that the LED incentives will be continuing for all of 2017. Do note, though, there may be some reductions in some of the LED incentives next year. So what you would do is you'd do an LED application, incentive application for the entire project, and then you're certainly allowed to do it in phases. I think you have a year. You do have a year to do the project, and then you get your incentives at the end of the project or at the end of a period. If you did want to go beyond 2017, you would have to keep a close eye on the fact that, are the incentives still being offered in 2018? Are they decreasing? So there is some potential negative trade-offs. And another thing to bear in mind, that take a look at what the overall project costs will be. If you're not a large facility and your overall project costs are only $5,000 or $10,000 or $3,000 to $5,000, and you've got a 6-month payback on the project, which means if you invest $5,000, you're saving $10,000 a year. So that's certainly a trade-off. If you've got a payback of 6 months, why would you want to wait 18 to 24 months, take a risk? You're maybe not going to get the incentives and complicate things. But that being said, many facilities will do larger projects over a 1-year phase or more. And again, we can certainly advise you on that. We would have a discussion, find out what your objectives are, and we're on your team. We're trying to figure out the best way to do it to meet your objectives. So if you only have so much budget per year, that's the reality. It would have to be a 2-year phase project, but we can help you work to make sure that any potential trade-off is lessened as possibly can.
Great, that's fantastic. Does anyone else have any questions? Again, if you have anything on your mind, feel free to type it in the chat box. We've got a few more minutes here. So if you've got any last minute questions, feel free to get them out. Okay, we've got some participants are typing, so we'll just give it a second to get some of those, see if we've got any last minute questions there. Awesome. Okay, from Joanne, how long can we expect to wait when booking a site inspection or a walkthrough?
Yeah, good question. It would depend on your location. You know, frankly, more of our team is located in Southern Ontario, but we are very much, you know, from coast to coast to coast in Ontario. So, you know, if you're located in Southern Ontario, realistically, you know, 7 to 14 days. Depends a little bit. There's a tremendous demand for these LED assessments these days. You know, if you're in Thunder Bay or further north, then, you know, that's a little bit more, pardon me, a little bit more challenging. But you know, certainly, you know, Windsor to Kingston to you know, Sudbury North, we can certainly get out to a site, you know, realistically 7 to 14 days. And certainly if you're, Hamilton GTA, well, depending on Sandry and our colleagues' schedule, 7 to 10 days. And certainly what we would want to do is start the process with a telephone meeting, you know, within a day or two. As soon as you contact us, we do our best to arrange a telecom that week, because we can start to gather some really good initial information over the phone. So that's all good. But I hope that gives you a time frame. Yep, they're saying second week of, yeah, okay, actually Sandry's saying second week of December. So certainly, generally 7 to 14 days. I think we are a little bit backed up right now, but you know, we'll get to you as quickly as we possibly can.
Great. Okay, we've got one last, it looks like one last question here from Glenda. I think that's probably all we have time for. They are located in a town building, and at the present they pay the hydro bill. Are there any other types of incentive programs available that are not with the hydro company?
No, the only incentives at this time, there was some incentives available from the federal government, but they're not, they've run out and they're not available at this time. There are, you know, these tremendous incentives from the Ontario utilities. But what we would very much like to do, Glenda, is review with you the fact that you are in a town building. I mean, municipalities are very receptive to receiving these incentives, and of course, in most cases, the local utility is co-owned by the municipality. So even though you're in a town building and, you know, they pay the hydro bill, there's a very good possibility that, you know, we could work with you and work with the facility manager from the town building, put in an application on your behalf through the town building, and you know, generally speaking, towns and municipalities, they're very receptive and very, you know, very cooperative at working with the tenant and ourselves to make sure you get the incentives. So we'd certainly want to take a look at that.
Fantastic. Okay, I think that's about all of our time for questions, which is great. We're right on time. So thank you very much to both Ed and Sandry for both being here today and for the time spent putting this presentation together, making it really focused to our arts facilities and your time going out and doing some of those walkthroughs. If anyone has any further questions, or if you sit on this information and something comes to mind, feel free to email myself or Ed or Sandry, whose contact info is on the screen. If you are interested in scheduling a walkthrough for a cost estimate of transitioning your facility, you can contact Ed or Sandry, and they'll be happy to assist you. So just as a reminder, we are going to be emailing out this recording to all our participants today. So if there's any of those technical terms that you want to revisit, or any information there that you want, or if you'd like to share it with colleagues, that will be coming out to you sometime later this week, hopefully. So we're going to sign off now. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks very much, everyone.